Okay. All right. I'm not going to go into the same rant that I went into at the beginning of the last episode, but my brothers in Christ, go rewatch the beginning of last week's episode so I don't need to repeat myself. Stop making stupid statements. All right. Anyway, I don't even Mike, read the synopsis.
Um. Okay, so when we last left off, Mark and Steven met the god. He pronounced it Teratet.
Towermet. It's kind of hard to, because sometimes it sounds like Towerette, and then sometimes it sounded like Towelette. Sometimes Steven's accent likes to pronounce things weirdly.
Yeah. And basically this episode is a journey down memory lane, but not necessarily the rose-colored memories.
No.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a heavy episode where Mark and Steven, mostly Steven, goes through the not so pleasant memories, and then Steven eventually figures out he's not real.
Mm-hmm. So you and me were wondering at the beginning of this if they were flipping the script here and we're going to have Steven be the main one and then Mark be the opposite because Steven was living his life and Mark was just kind of there. But no.
No, not only are they not flipping the script, it just took us a while to get to the revelation.
And we thought they were making a joke last week when they had that Stephen Grant explorer thing.
Oh, right, because that's where we thought at first that was like, oh, haha, very funny.
Yeah.
In this headspace, Stephen Grant is just a movie character. But then they actually reveal, no, that's where the name of his identity came from.
Yeah. And find out that unnamed, outside of a nickname, that he actually had a little brother that he got killed by drowning in a cave. Oh boy, I have only seen this film once and it was a random find at a family video. There was this movie, part of me wants to say it was called Extraction. Not the one with Chris Hemsworth. God, I want to say it was like an Italian or a French movie too. But they have this thing where it's kind of like Inception, except like they literally download you onto a chip into a person's head and they have you literally like walk around in their head like while they're conscious, and then something freaks with the machine and it breaks and that dude gets stuck on this neural chip in this guy's head for like months.
Interesting.
And what they're trying to do is solve how a murder happens. I wish I could remember what the name of this film was. But he starts looking through his memories, and like it's like for anyone that plays video games, like when you have a character roster of like unknown characters you haven't met yet, like he's been told his whole life that his that this event happened a certain way because he was unbelievably drunk and blacked out. So his memory just got used to it and formed it in his head. And then eventually, through this guy poking through his brain, he was basically like unlocking cutscenes in his head of what really happened and showing how a person's brain, that if they were in a certain state and they're just told after a while, it can kind of affect them to actually start believing things. And it started making me remember a lot of that while we were watching this. Oh boy, if anyone watches this and knows what film I am speaking of, I know that's going to be a tough sell to try and figure out what the hell film I'm talking about. But it was about a guy who accidentally, his girlfriend got killed on a night when he was drunk, and he ended up not doing it. Spoiler, he ended up not doing it when they found out the memories later. But it's a really good movie if you can figure out what the hell I'm babbling about. But yeah, it's okay, let's start from the top here. We've got the hippo. We're just gonna call her the hippo, and we find out that he's dead, and that this is just him figuring out stuff in his head. Haro is literally just in his head talking to him, like it's not even Haro.
Yep, it's all just how he's perceiving the afterlife.
Yeah.
Or as she says, an afterlife.
And afterlife, the duet, because I guess humans can't properly comprehend it. It's like, I don't know if I was speaking with you about that, but it's like how every HP Lovecraft monster is described. It's so evil. Oh, I couldn't even describe it in words.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before.
But
by the way, there was another MCU reference when Taro mentioned the ancestral plane.
Oh, yeah. You were correct. You mentioned it was beautiful. That is true. They did mention, one of the directors mentioned that the main like showrunner did mention that they're purposely trying to not make giant things, and that was part of the reason why they did this project, because they could make something that wasn't tied to everything else.
That's smart.
So bringing up things that aren't going to do things, like it makes sense for them to know about the astral plane. So that is very smart. So yeah, we talked about that, and yeah, we get to basically see the personality get formed. And man, like the whole show kind of unravels, and not like it falls apart like story wise. Like, I mean, all the stuff that you were seeing kind of unravels. Like the entire time I just thought his mom was a bitch that she didn't answer the phone, and now I found out that she was a bitch, and also that she's dead. And he was just another thing that was blocked, where Mark was like, nope. It really paints this unbelievable sacrificial point with Mark here, where he literally just went Control Alt Delete on everything bad, and then just pushed himself to the sidelines so that Steven could live a happy life.
Yep, that's basically what it comes down to.
That's crazy. It's like, again, I know nothing about Moon Knight. I don't know if that's how it is. I assume it's not, because I don't know if that has that big of a deal in the story. But also, they stop exploring the ward, like as the ward, and then start. I have to ask you. You and me thought that that tomb was Jacob Lockley. Are we assuming now that tomb was his little brother?
It's a logical conclusion,
because I doubt they're going to go back to that.
Yeah, I don't think they're touching that again.
No, and I'm wondering if that was the same room. Like if I went back and watched that, he walked back to the same room that had the tomb in it, and then just like went, and that was technically him opening it, going in there. We also got to see that Mark was going to blow his brains out before Khonshu stopped him.
And then Khonshu is like, oh, he's weak. I can take advantage of him now.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a real waste. You want to keep doing what you do. Come on, buddy. Like, what are we doing here? It's weird to see because like we haven't gotten Khonshu's version of that story yet. Because it's like, is he really? I don't know. Because it's a lot of perspective with this show now. I'm seeing on where you're seeing it from.
And I do kind of like that too. How this isn't really linear in terms of a singular perspective. It's all really subjective.
Yeah, and this show is also not afraid to go nowhere fast. Like they made zilcho progress pretty much in the last 2 episodes. We've been stuck in a finite point with 1 episode left.
I'm starting to get a little concerned with the pacing of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's necessarily a bad thing to have these things like all be 6 episodes each, but actually no, that's exactly what I'm saying. Not all of these not all of these shows need to be 6 episodes each.
There's a good reason WandaVision was longer.
But also WandaVision had shorter. WandaVision was weird because like the first 3 episodes were like 30 minutes, and they started getting a little bit longer each for the rest of the show.
Yeah. This to me feels like it could have gotten another 1 or 2. And again, I understand that this was during the COVID disaster, that a lot of this is being shot, but it kind of feels like I don't know, even remotely know what this last episode is going to be.
Same.
Like I couldn't even give you a guess, but I can tell you it's probably not going to be a fight because they still have to get Khonshu back.
So yeah, so I don't think we're getting we're not going to get a third act like punchy kind of last episode.
No, we're not. And it's like we're not going to have any more hijinks because I don't know how only part of your split personality dies, but Steven's gone for all intents and purposes from the looks of it. I don't know if he could be brought back. I would assume they're going to figure something out, but it's just Mark now.
Yep. So does that mean he's going to be like in the suit full time now?
Maybe. He's been not in that suit for like 98% of this show. It's kind of nuts when you do the math how little he's actually in that suit.
Yeah. And I mean that's fine. I don't think I was expecting this to be, you know, a straight up action show.
No, and I wasn't either. I was not expecting it to be. When they was telling me I was getting Moon Knight, I wasn't expecting we were going to get this much emphasis on him figuring out his trauma from his personalities. I mean, and I get that's one of the big hooks where they don't really have that with another character, and I get that it's just not what I was expecting. So, yeah, it'll be something else. And like I like what they're doing. I wasn't expecting like he created Stephen Grant to be a brave person, and in the end, Stephen Grant was just not brave. He was just not a person. Well, how do I want to say this? He wasn't brave. He was just a person who didn't have to deal with the crap that Mark put up with.
Exactly.
So technically, Mark was still being brave. He just didn't want it he was being brave by making it so this alternate personality of himself didn't have to put up with that stuff, and only he did.
Stephen was a deflection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's man. Like week by week, I feel like I don't know what the show is, and that's not a bad thing.
No, if anything, I'm liking how little we know what's going on. it's kind of refreshing compared to other shows where it's like, oh well, this happens, so therefore this happens, or
yeah, and man, part of me just had a thing in my head where I kind of had an idea of how the show is going to end. Because okay, so we have this, we have the scales balance out because Steven quote unquote dies. That was the thing that Harrow was freaking out about, of why he couldn't balance the scales, because his mind was fractured. So if we take a good chunk of this next episode, him getting through the gates of Osiris, going up, getting Khonshu, and then going to Harrow summoning Amit, and then we don't get a duel. Part of me thinks that Harrow and Mark are going to have their scales balanced, and Mark is going to be the balanced one, and Harrow isn't. So Amit judges Harrow, and Mark gets away.
I like that.
It just hit me when I was looking at my notes about how Steven dying balances scales. I kind of think that now that he's attempting to get his own crap together, that's what's going to happen.
And that would satisfy people who either want like a more finite conflict between the two, or those who are like, a little bit disappointed that we don't get like a traditional Marvel third act.
Yeah, and then that would not be a ending that upsets me in the slightest. I actually think I would kind of like that. But yeah, it'll be really weird that when this show is over, because unless they pull something wild and just tack an end credit scene that has nothing to do with any of it, this will be the first one that just ends. And just ends. Like there's nothing going anywhere else. It wasn't on to anything. It was like, well, thanks, folks. We got our 6 episodes. We're out of here.
Although I have a sneaking suspicion that this isn't the last time we've seen Moon Knight or Khonshu, and B, I can tell that Oscar Isaac was being cautious when he only signed on for 1 season, but considering how much fun it looks like he's having on screen, even during like the heavier moments of this episode, I don't think he would complain about coming back.
No, and isn't that also a thing that they've been doing lately, though? Aren't they now? Or I thought it was something where some insider or maybe some actor revealed that they're getting away from signing these massive, like 98 appearance deals. I want to say it was someone like Elizabeth. Oh my goodness, what's her last name?
Olsen?
Elizabeth Olsen was like, she's now on kind of like they call her and then she signs a contract for type of things.
That sounds like a real quote. I can't remember where I've heard of that either.
Because I swear that they were just like, well, they're still offering people a lot. They're just not doing, you have 9 movies and 8 television appearances. Like, they're not doing stuff like that anymore. But either way, yeah, it's from all, like, outside of now that the world is starting to slightly get out of COVID, I won't say not be a crap storm, because oh boy, is it still. We're kind of slightly edging back into normality, if normality is a word I can even use nowadays.
It's a relative term.
Relative term. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. So doing these shows could become less of a nightmare again. And honestly, from the looks of this, it looks like it was shot 98% on a soundstage.
Yeah, this episode in particular feels like something from like, you know, the golden age of Hollywood, where pretty much everything was a soundstage, matte paintings, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like everyone hears CGI is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, CGI is good when you use it when you need it. Not in situations where like, oh boy, do I love to give it shit. The Jedi Council meetings where outside of the chairs, almost that whole set was CGI. Why? Why? Answer me, George. You were drunk with power. Man, we just kind of went through bullet points, but I'm like, I don't even know what else to say. I mean, like, Towerment was funny. Like, we get to see that the souls are being punished without being balanced. So maybe he's already found Amit. I don't know. Well, no, obviously, duh, he would have found Amit. He would have had him in his hand since he shot Mark. They had it right there.
That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They just, unless they release Amit that quickly, which, where's the Ennead going to get upset if Amit gets released? God forbid Khonshu played with the stars a little.
Fucking Ennead.
And also, another thing I'm going to call, they're never going to talk about those freaking glass in his sneakers ever.
Nope.
I was looking up reasonings here. I just typed in, why glass in shoes? And basically all that they could do is, it's 6 different articles by 70 different sites, all basically saying the same thing, where they think that it's basically like some dedication thing through self-flagellation. Which, I guess that makes sense. People that don't know what self-flagellation is, it's disciplinary through devotional practice, like other things. Like there's one where what was it, in Supernatural, to try and prove himself to God, they had boiling hot water, and Cass dipped or it would have been something Novak, I can't remember what his human vessel's name is, but he sticks his hand in boiling water, trusting that he's not going to get hurt, and then he pulls it out and nothing happens. It's basically, yeah. Oh, that actually wasn't like that. But either way, yeah, it's disciplining yourself to show your commitment, I guess. That's what everyone is thinking. I still wish there would have been a little bit of that, because outside of if they never put an explanation behind it or never explained that, oh boy, does it seem like we wanted our guy to have something we remembered him by.
Yeah. Because
I would like Haro without the glass in the shoes.
It's just like it's that one detail.
It's such a thing that's like not needed. It's so weird to me, because like the tattoos, the scales, and like the freaking cane and everything, it all makes sense. It all, without needing to be explained, they barely do 2 words and it's all off. But it's also like, also, he wears Crocs and puts glass in them. Why? Because we needed a really cool shot for the first episode. Okay. Does glass have anything to do with Egyptians? Not really, but it'll look cool. Sell it as a toy to the kids.
I mean, glass is made from sand, so
oh boy, if that, thank you, comicbook.com. That's what that article is going to be right there. Guys, we figured it out. Yeah. It's a short one. I really got nothing.
I guess one more thing I'll bring up, since a lot of people were kind of talking about in the comics, Mark is supposed to be Jewish, and this is like the one episode where they kind of actually explore that.
That's one thing I was gonna ask because I had no idea. I just saw the yarmulke on his head. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And even if they would have changed that, I wouldn't even have been upset if that was just something he threw in there.
It's something I picked up on immediately because there were two scenes when the family was sitting Shiva. One was when his brother died, and then the other was his mother's funeral.
Okay, that's one thing I was going to ask because I had literally no idea what Shiva was.
Shiva is basically a Jewish tradition when someone in your family passes away.
Got it. Okay, because I'm like, man, it's one of those things where you hear a term and you know it sounds like something you've heard at some point, but it's never been explained to you. That's what Shiva was.
Right, I get that.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, I mean it's good. I want to know how they plan on tying this together. I'm more morbidly curious.
Same, because right now we have no idea like the future of this character.
No.
Like all I know is a couple possibilities. Like we have Werewolf by Night coming in October. We have Thor: Love and Thunder, which is in July, and then I don't think
Doctor Strange coming up next week.
That's next week. I don't think he'll be in Doctor Strange at all. But Love and Thunder is a possibility because you could have Gore the God Butcher coming in and wiping out the Ennead.
Oh, I would not complain about. I would stand and cheer.
Same.
Oh, you would get a legit standing ovation. No joke. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle all that.
Oh yeah.
Because we're starting to get to the point of where like there's a lot of powerful things in the MCU at one time. Like they're starting to like they were very slowly taking the toys out of the toy box, and now they're just literally picking the entire thing up and dumping it in front of the kids because it's like we have the TVA, we have the Celestials, we have the Egyptian gods, we have the Illuminati, which you're gonna have next week.
I still can't believe they just went ahead and said that in a TV spot.
Yeah, there is a scary amount of rather unbelievably powerful things going around. And like they have a Fantastic Four film in the works. That means Galactus is sitting around a corner at some point. It's getting to the point of where we just have another version of the comics just going on in live action now.
Yeah, we are getting very close to that point. Are we missing any giant entities?
Okay, we'll go through them again here. Well, Celestials, like we said, the Eternals, which I guess you could count that as a big thing. Excuse me, the TVA. Oh, the Kang.
Kang, there we go.
The time-traveling conqueror. We have Sword fully established.
Yep.
Are
we counting the Asgardians who are on Earth now?
Yeah, let's do that. The Egyptian gods, the Illuminati, the Gore the God Butcher, which will be done and taken care of in his movie, but still, man, and we have no freaking idea how limited the multiverse is. Because Patrick Stewart's in that film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else that means, but I'm erect at the possibilities.
Oh, it's going to mean a lot of things.
And it's like, man, we're getting in like near the teens of like things where one false step and they could start wiping people out. I just and like we still have characters that are meant to get movies that we don't even know they have plans for. Like Blade is just hanging out with Jon Snow doing whatever. I don't know what that Blade's gonna do, but we know what he turns into. And then we have also, if we're going by technical terms here, we have Tom Holland's Spider-Man still technically in the MCU with a chunk of Venom.
Yep.
Stop! I need to get off. The train keeps moving. We have the Shang-Chi's Sisters Criminal Organization.
Yep.
Can't think of the name.
Give me a sec. Keep going.
He has the 10 rings. So we have that whole not Shambhala. Where did they go?
Talo.
Talo. We have that whole like ancient civilization of random mystical beasts.
Oh, so Xiaoling is she's running the 10 Rings organization.
The 10 Rings. Thank you. I couldn't think of the freaking name of the organization. Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Because we still have Echo coming, for crying out loud. We have whatever's coming in Miss Marvel. Ah!
And then there's whatever's happening in Secret Invasion.
We have the scroll still. That's another thing with Fantastic Four. There's so much. But the worst thing is, there's so much, but it's in such bite-sized chunks in an orderly fashion to where I'm not as overwhelmed as keeping up with like 3 CW TV shows. And I know there's like 9, but
and even those are slowly getting phased out.
Yeah, except for the Flash, which even though they're just like, we're gonna treat this as if the show's ending, but we don't have Supernatural anymore, so Flash, you're going 16 seasons.
Oh God, I can imagine Grant Gustin saying, "Kill me now."
Grant Gustin going, if one of you even mentions Speedster villain, I'm blowing my brains out. Somewhere, Stephen Amell is laughing himself silly.
He got out at just the right time.
Yes, he did. And now he's got a great show, Heels. So, anyway, all right. We're not going to make this go to 45 minutes of me thinking of random stuff to talk about. Man, that really hit me. Thinking of everything. We don't know where the X-Men are going to move in because they're still making a third Deadpool movie, and I don't know where that's going to go. Anyway, yeah, let's get out of here. I got to edit this thing and get it up so we can get it up on RPC along with my channel. So, Mike, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on Podchaser and the Banana Meter. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
And you can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero. And Man, I think I got it this time. I had to sit here for 20 minutes and have my roommate watching me to try and figure out. For any of you that stream through an Elgato or an Avermedia or anything that is not a indirect PC capture device, there is a sync delay that you have to deal with that you really don't realize unless someone on the stream is nice enough to tell you that it's off. And I thought I had it on until I was watching my previous footage coming back, and I have horrendous OCD set around perfection. So me seeing my voice delay coming up, it was literally driving me insane to where I didn't want to stream. And now, from what I can tell, we have it ticked to where it's good. So I'm going to be streaming more, and I want to, starting this Saturday, I'm going to put an invitation on my Facebook. I want to see if I can get another regular game night going with people.
Ooh.
So we will see. Me and Mike will be back twice next week, because probably going to have to do Moon Knight Wednesday and then Doctor Strange Thursday.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So we'll be back again for that. So a lot more Marvel stuff coming. Anyway, we will see you all next time. Bye.
Peace.